Welcome back to another episode of TVGP's Critical Misses. We're catching up on all the media hits we missed. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpier.
Hi! Hello, friends! How are you?
Hello, friends and patrons.
Oh,
This is our second
and
episode of...
regular listeners like 6 months down the line.
That's right. Hello to you too. We're doing the second half of our kind of quick twofer here. We went back to high school last episode for 21 Jump Street. Now we're going to college here for episode 22, the second 22nd Jump Street movie, the second Jump Street movie. Let's get, now that we've seen one of them, Moon, what are your kind of expectations going here into a direct sequel of the first movie?
Well, this is the funny thing, because this is a college movie now, not a high school movie.
Right.
Which means the inappropriate humor is a little bit more appropriate.
Right.
I'm looking at you, teacher, specifically, teacher.
Right.
So I'm guessing this will be probably a relatively generic feeling college movie.
Okay.
Which, as somebody who's not from the States, let me tell you, your college experience is vastly different to mine.
Right. To address the thing at the beginning, this is actually a college movie. There wasn't a fake out at the end where we talked about it in the previous movie, and then this one they're like, "You're going back to high school, LOL." They do actually go to college this time. So
okay, so it is true to the T's.
Right.
We'll say.
Correct.
Interesting.
So do you think we're going to see the return of Schmidt and Jenko? Or our two leading men? Okay.
I'm pretty sure we have to, and I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I've seen an image of them dressed differently, but then I just realized that the image I've seen of them is them dressed in their white tuxedos.
There you go.
So, no, I haven't seen them dressed differently.
Do you think we have anybody else returning from the first movie?
Well, hopefully Ice Cube returns.
Okay.
Because he was a very good boss.
Right.
I don't think we see any of the school kids return. I don't think we've got James Franco's little brother or whatever the hell it is, whoever the hell he is.
Right.
I don't think he's back.
Okay.
Probably don't see any of the teachers. Hopefully the lady cops are back solving crimes when they completely fail to.
Right. I don't remember if they show up or not, but they would not be unwelcome.
I don't think we'll see Brie Olson back.
Right. You think there's going to be kind of a hard cut from, well, they were in high school. They're not, that wasn't their senior year. They're not going to college.
Yeah. Plus, I think, honestly, it would be potentially a little bit awkward if one of the cops is dating a high schooler still.
Right.
Not that's like, true. I wouldn't put it past them.
Right.
But I think it might be a little bit awkward if that was the case.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, do we see Ron Swanson? Maybe not. Who knows?
Right. I feel like it might be another one of him showing up for, a 2-minute scene.
Less than 2 seconds.
Yeah. You're going back to college.
Is this the movie where I've seen a football scene? So I'm guessing they both try out for football practice, because on one of my many YouTube rabbit holes, I'm pretty sure I've seen a clip of these two specific actors playing football.
Yeah, football is kind of an important cornerstone of the college experience for one of them.
I don't get it. I'm not even going to go into that tirade right now, because I could rip your American college system to bits with that whole thing.
Hey man, you got plenty of ammo to rip the American college institution over. But like, yeah, I think I think they address it in an interesting way because I don't. I think part of the reason why why Jenko was upset at uh, the end of the first movie was, I believe, he didn't go to college.
Yes.
So
So it's going to be interesting seeing a jock frat boy like him in an actual jock frat boy scenario for the very first time.
right, exactly. Yeah.
So that should be interesting. I'm curious if they're going to continue the spin on yo, it's been a long time since you were in school slash college thing with the
Mm-hmm.
whole identifying the groups at the start of the first movie was hilarious, where it was like that's the goths, that's the nerds. I don't know who that is. I don't know who
Right.
that is. Like I'm curious if they're going to keep that up.
Yeah.
Um,
After sort of making fun of movie studios going back to the well one too many times in the first movie, are they going to go back to the well in this one? You know, like
they kind of have to, don't they? Really?
yeah.
I
I feel
mean,
like there has to be a whole bunch. Um,
yeah.
why do you think they're going to college?
Well,
What's
probably to stop drug dealers in college would be my guess.
mm-hmm.
Because they're not really going to go there to stop underage drinking because they promoted
Right.
it in the last movie.
That's right.
Um, so yeah, it's either going to be drug dealers or some criminal conspiracy thing
Right. Some
involving
sort of
a bunch of.
crime ring.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Right.
you get in every college in America.
Right.
Starting at the top, work your way down, it's all crime from the top to the bottom.
That's right.
Um, I'm, I'm biting my tongue so much. So much.
Don't worry, we have
Just
the
on
second part of the episode to address all that.
just on football alone, I'm biting my tongue so much. Like,
Yeah.
don't even get me started on that. I have some opinions on that
Hey,
stuff. Like,
neither of us are football fans, so, you know.
no, but I am a sports fan.
Sure.
And like in high school and college and university in England, there is the whole sports thing too. That does exist. You do
Mm,
have that whole thing. The difference is we don't have college and university stadiums that are bigger than professional teams. The
sure.
difference is we don't exploit the hell out of our kids and make a bunch of money selling merchandise that legally they're not allowed to because they're only amateurs at that point. Like there's a lot going on in the American college system that is problematic.
That is true.
And that's just on the sports, let alone the whole different types of colleges and the fact that these some of these colleges refuse to let poor people in and have like billions of dollars invested so that they can keep making money year after year. I'm not even going to get into the whole for-profit schooling system
Do
because
you,
that's a problem too.
do you think this movie addresses any of that?
No,
Okay.
I think this movie addresses it at about as surface level as it potentially can, would be my guess, if it mentions it in the slightest.
Right.
I don't see them doing a whole, hey, maybe,
Hey, maybe this isn't okay.
yeah, maybe, naming a building after a rich white dude who give you a bunch of money is a problem. Like,
Right. Right. Any other expectations for this movie overall?
Honestly, I'm not sure. Hopefully
Right.
it will be funny. Hopefully they will play the comedy well, but not too bad. Like, I think the first movie rode that fine line pretty well of
Mm-hmm.
really funny without being exploitative kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if this can do the same thing. By the way, my favorite college movie of all time is Dead Man on Campus, which is
There you go.
an incredible college movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know, because I mean the problem here is it opens up so much. Like, are they going to go live in dorms?
Right.
Like, are they going to get involved in that whole thing? I somehow doubt that we're going to see a bunch of LAN video game parties going on based on when
Right.
this takes place.
Right. But
So
you can
does
look at
this then?
Jenko and say, like, how are they going to get into the frat system? You know, are they going to do
Yes.
kind of the traditional stuff? Unlike the first movie, are they going to kind of serve their stereotypical roles that the two of them
Yes.
would kind of
Or are
fill?
they going to flip it around? I mean, that's a very good point too. Like, Do they do dorms? Do they do frat houses? Which of the
Right.
two options is it? Does one do one and one do the other? Like,
Right.
I don't know. Hopefully he's learned his Miranda rights by now. Will.
Yeah, hopefully they stuck.
Yes.
um, yeah, I'm especially curious to hear your thoughts at the end of this one because I have a lot of thoughts about this movie, and I have some problems with the film overall. One kind
Okay.
of specific thing, but I think for me this is largely kind of like, yeah, you went back to the well and you made another comedy that I enjoy, even if it's a little bit like, okay, you're doing another one, okay, sure, we'll kind of, I guess we'll kind of see how this goes, I guess.
Was there anybody else from 21 Jump Street who wasn't a cameo in the first one? I imagine Johnny Depp isn't going to be in this movie again. So,
Yeah, I don't believe he's in this one. There is a truckload of cameos in this movie, especially kind of right near the end. I am very excited for you to see who the bad guy is, because
okay.
it is it is really good, and I'm also very excited for you to see the. At some point, Schmidt gets romantically involved with someone because that's sort of how the first movie went too.
Yeah, and well, at least this time it'll be someone who is relatively
A
age
little
appropriate.
closer, right? Very excited to see your reaction to who her mom is, because that is a real good
Okay.
moment in this. But other than that, I'm mostly curious to see how your. I haven't seen this one for a while. If I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
watch either one of them, I'm gonna watch the first one, because that one's a pretty tight film overall.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been a couple years since I've seen this one, so I'm curious to see if I feel differently about it after however long it's been since I've seen it last.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other college tropes, and honestly, I can't think of anything.
Hmm.
Um, Football is the big one, or
Yep.
sports in general, depending on your school of choice. Um, oh, did they go to TJ?
Um. No,
Because
they don't go
you
to
know,
TJ.
if you're in California, you have to go to Tijuana, and
Right.
what happens in Tijuana stays in Tijuana.
Right. No, they don't go to TJ. But I am.
I only
Um.
know that thanks to Orange County, the show, by the way.
Right. Um. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see sort of how they address all of the kind of typical tropes of not only college but kind of college movies. Um,
Hmm.
so, all right. Any final thoughts here before we go watch the film?
No, we'll see how it goes, I guess. I don't know.
Are you, let's go to college. All right, we'll see it.
Please don't be offensive.
Fingers crossed. We're back after watching the film, The 22nd Jump Street.
Uh-huh.
We hold on. Let me open up. Let me open up with these various notes I have here.
Okay, good, because I got nothing.
Yeah, I have no notes either. I just have a plot summary here because there how should I put this? There is and isn't a whole lot that goes on in this movie.
Yes.
Largely because at the very beginning they say, "Hey, you're going undercover to school. You got to do the same thing back over again." O-
Uh-huh. And then they
opening,
don't.
yeah. Opening in the movie, we have actually, actually, I really like the kind of quick turn the movie has of like you're going to college and then they're doing remote
Online
classes. They're
classes.
just yeah, they're doing online classes, which is really good, and that turns into they're at the dock at 10:30. We get this Okay, let's talk about my big problem with this movie. Um,
Okay.
I
Is
don't
Peter
like.
Stormare? Is it better than Peter Stormare?
No, Peter Stormare is great. That was one of the people I didn't want to spoil going in. It's like, hey, they got Peter Stormare. Like, there's some element of like, yeah, he'll show up in anything, but he's still really good. As
Yeah.
the drug runner who's complaining about the '90s the entire time, which is really good. Um, I don't like about a third of this movie, and
Okay.
I really don't like. I really like the first movie, and I think every time I watch this movie, I like the first one a little bit more because this one often falls into the trap of I need you guys to ad lib something here for a minute,
Uh-huh.
and we'll get into a character that really breaks this a lot later. But
I think I know the scene you're talking about.
yeah, but it feels a little bit. I think Channing Tatum does really well when is sort of pushed into
JT,
this.
thank you very much.
Yeah, but Jonah Hill, I feel like when you let him ad lib, I feel like it's like an embarrassment of riches sometimes, where it's like, all right, you did 8 ad libs, 4 of them were good. We're putting all 4 in the movie. It's like that's
Uh-huh.
not. So we get this sort of the like Mexican Wolverine scene, which is genuinely a pretty good line at the beginning, um, and Schmidt gets inked by an octopus that hops on his face, um,
Yeah,
which
which
is
is
pretty okay.
interesting,
Yeah.
we'll say.
There is. I do really like the Jenko just killing it in the kind of pursuit of the drug dealers, and they are genuinely terrified of Terminator coming after him. Um,
Yes.
yeah. It fails because, of course, it does. So
It
they.
fails in a great way, though. I'm not a huge fan of kind of the slapstick kind of humor,
Mhm.
but like him getting hit by the standing on top of the truck, getting hit by that pole, and then them just like seesawing each other on the opposite
Mhm.
ends of the thing. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Um. So we find out that the deputy who is is God, what is his name again? I'm gonna be really embarrassed that I totally forgot what his name is. It is Nick Offerman. Jesus Christ. Nick Offerman in
Okay.
an even more tired role this time of just like it's been a couple of
Uh-huh.
years since I have dealt with you, and I still really don't want to deal with you. Um,
Yep.
let's
All of their superior officers hate them.
Right. They've been putting up for with their shenanigans for 2 years in this kind of like narcotics busting, um, and they all seem really tired of it. So they get sent to 22 Jump Street, which is
Uh-huh.
conveniently right across the street after the Korean church bought that building back, which was really great.
Yes. I am glad they actually stuck with the real rules and it was over the road, not right next door.
Right. Because right next door was 23 Jump Street, and I like that Schmidt says, let's not get ahead
Condominiums
of
coming
ourselves.
soon.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Which is. It's,
Considering how this movie ends.
it's a pretty good one. Um, so, there is a really good Ice Cube joke in here, though, of Schmidt coming in and be like, it looks like a giant cube of ice. It's like, okay. I didn't catch
That was
that
pretty good.
the first couple times, but that one's pretty good.
Yeah.
So they're going to go undercover as college students and locate the supplier of the synthetic drug Wi-Fi, which stands for Work Hard, Yes, Play Hard, Yes, which is
Uh-huh.
real good. I like Jenko calls it Whiffy.
Yep. And there is also I don't know who did the song, but there's very clearly a work hard, play hard song.
Yes,
attached to this movie?
there is. It's God, who does that song? It is uh Ludacris is on one of them. It's like there's a number of pretty big musicians on the soundtrack.
Uh-huh.
And Wi-Fi has killed a student. They have a photograph of the student buying it on campus from a dealer. So they move into college. I actually really like this moving into college sequence of all of the
I
like stereotypically crappy things you bring to college.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised at how much I kind of got right in regards to this, where it's like, yes,
Mhm.
they are going to do the dorm, but also frat bros and also spring break
Yes, I do like that
and also football.
they brought in the really crappy bacon holder microwave thing that seemingly everybody gets and no one uses because
I have no idea what that is.
yeah, it's I think everyone has seen one in their life and it's nobody has ever really used one. Um, but you kind of meet everybody on on campus. You meet the Keith and Kenny Yang who live across the hallway. Um, and yeah, Django very quickly befriends a pair of jocks, Zook and Rooster, who are both really good. I struggled to think of where I recognized Zook from.
I can
That's
tell you right now, 3 different locations you may have seen him from.
it's I remember him from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I
There's
realize
one of them as
that
fake Captain America.
yeah.
I also recognize him from Overlord, which is I think it's the World War II body horror movie
Okay.
that one of the famous body horror directors did. Hold
Hmm.
on a second. Nope, not a famous body horror, but whatever. It's a movie I've seen. But mostly, I recognize him from Black Mirror. He's
Ah,
the
okay.
guy who plays the video game with the neural thing on his
Ah,
neck.
gotcha. All right. Wyatt Russell.
Yes, Kurt
Interesting.
Russell's son, by the way.
I did not know that until was looking him up for this episode,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, oh, oh, Russell, right, gotcha.
Yes.
Um, so the Zook and Rooster kind of become prime suspects of the investigation. Jenko starts partying with the jock frat. There's a really good joke there where we finally find out the whole thing here that they're chasing down is this like bazooka tattoo that the dealer has.
Yeah, which was pointed out to them by the lead culprit of the previous
Rob
movie.
Riggle.
Which that scene is quality, by the way. That
Mhm.
scene is a quality scene, including the kid who's in the jail cell with him.
Yeah,
Like,
Dave Franco just being like, "Oh, I was gonna go to Berkeley."
it is unfortunate in some ways, but in other ways, it is
Sure.
absolutely hilarious. That scene.
Yeah.
But that he points that out, and yeah, it's Zook because his nickname is Bazooka because he's got an arm like a cannon, and he's the
Mhm.
quarterback. Spoiler alert.
Yep. That's really good.
So,
When we do see his tattoo, he unveils that he has a red herring tattoo, which
that's Rooster. Yeah, he's got the red herring tattoo, which is
is a
quality.
really good like overt wink of just like wink.
Uh-huh.
I do.
By the way, we totally missed the meet cute. By the way,
Yeah, the two of them giggling over their meet cute, and later on in the movie, the commentators for the football games say that they both share a brain, and very much from the first moment. Later, they say yes, they both have exactly half a brain.
yes.
They are very much it's literally the definition of meet cute. So they start hanging out together. Schmidt is kind of going to stuff. There's a really good scene of Schmidt trying to get info on the Wi-Fi from a kid in class, and the kid is just like, you should go to the evidence locker and ask your chief to get it because you're a cop. And Schmidt's like, no, that's not me. And he goes, you still have your
He's like,
badge
"You're
on. And he
wearing-
looks
you're wearing your
down.
badge," and he looks down. Yeah,
He goes,
That's
did you
pretty
just look at
solid.
your badge? I like Schmidt's throwaway line of like, I didn't look down. Like it's real.
Mhm.
There's some real good stuff
One
there.
of my favorite ones is when I can't remember when it is, but they're heading towards the dawn, trying to correlate evidence. Jimbo Jambo, whatever his name is, he says, "So I'm hearing all these things about the Wi-Fi. I hear you can get it free all over campus."
That's a real. I forgot about that. That's real good.
And then the other guy's like, "Are you talking about the drug or are you talking about internet access?" And he's like,
Hmm.
he literally says, "F you brain." And it's like,
Right.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, that's it. That's a good delivery.
Schmidt starts. He goes to a slam poetry thing and sort of tries to get the
I hate
attention of
awkward humor. I hate
Maya.
awkward humor.
I really like this scene because it very much seems like Jonah Hill spent about 30 minutes on that stage just saying random things, and they cut it and
They
they
just
put
put
it.
it together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they just put it on film.
He literally drops the mic at the end of it as well,
Yeah,
which is kind of a killer move. Not gonna lie.
yeah. Jesus died for our Cynthias, which is really good. Um,
Oh,
yeah. So
it's so
he
awkward.
somehow that works on Maya. They go back to her apartment. They have a romantic interlude, and they find out that Maya is rooming with literally the worst character in film history, Mercedes, which is I hate her in this movie. I hate literally every scene she is in. She's the lowest point in this movie and destroys the back third of this movie single-handedly. This is the stuff that I really hate, where I hope this stuff wasn't written into the script. I wouldn't know where to find the script, otherwise I would go look for it.
Most of it wasn't, from what I heard. The
Yeah.
fight scene at the end of the movie between her and Schmidt was pretty much all improv off the bat.
Okay.
Like,
You can tell.
and you can see Schmidt looking, like, you can see Jonah Hill looking off screen at the directors to find out whether or not they're going to say cut or not.
Yeah. So Mercedes obviously notices that, hey, maybe Schmidt is a little bit older than most average college students, and that's her thing throughout the movie. There is one line later on kind of the skywalk where she talks about playing behind old man whatever's candy shop. That gets a laugh out of me every time, mostly because of her delivery, but the rest of it is just garbage. I'm not even going to try and be civil here. I think them cutting so much improv from her, or ad lib from her in this movie, just ruins so much of it.
I thought it was okay, middle of the road and upwards, but this is kind of the reason you have writers. Like,
Right.
it takes something very specific to be genuinely funny when it comes to improv. I can only think of like 2 or 3 people who I know who have improved, who I thought was funny. One of them is Robin Williams. Spoiler alert, one of the best comedians of all time, is also a great improv artist. I'm not a huge fan of improv because you can tighten those jokes up and nail them down and make them so much better just by putting some writing time into it.
Well, and I think my biggest problem with this, I usually don't mind improv or ad lib. I just think that if you have one joke, I don't think we need to see 3 variations of it back to back to back. Like, I think that's where I sort of, like, 3 old dude joke back to back every time she shows up is really tiring. I think
If
it
it
kind of
was
sucks.
3, that would be understandable, but it's not 3.
Yeah. 5
It's
plus
like
sometimes.
15.
Yeah, it's a real bummer. But we do find out that I think this is the parents' weekend scene now.
Yep,
Which
it
is-
is. If you're talking about finding out who the lady is related to, yep.
This is
That's
one of
the
my
parents
favorite
scene.
scenes in this movie of just, hey, it's parents' weekend. Oh, hey, Maya's here. Oh, here's my dad. It's the captain, Captain
Uh-huh.
Dixon, and his wife,
So
Queen
what was your name
Latifah.
again?
Queen Latifah. It's just
Uh-huh.
like, I love the, like, there's such a good scene when they cut from all of them meeting for the first time and then them sitting down at the table where the captain is just dead staring Schmidt in the face for like a
Uh-huh.
couple of quiet seconds. Like that's a really, really good shot.
It's made even better by the fact that Maya's like, yeah, we talked and then we watched a movie and we liked the movie so much we watched it several times and it's just
Right.
like,
And the captain's like, how's class going, Doug?
and this is also worth mentioning. This is after he's give him some love for the fact that he got laid.
Right. Yeah, because there's like a scene earlier that Dixon was sort of like, all right, man, like, yeah, you're doing okay at college. Like, good for you. Like, no big deal. And I like the rising tension of Schmidt not even being able to look at the captain, and then the captain going to go get a crepe, and it all devolving very quickly of him being upset
Uh-huh.
at Ham and the planter and flipping over everything. Um,
Yeah, I see you plants. I see where you need to be. You should be down there, and then he just kicks the things off. Like
that's
that. That's a nice spread as well, dude.
yeah, it's that's a nice setup for a parents' weekend. Sheesh.
Uh-huh.
Um, so they kind of finish that up. Maya's like, "Oh, don't take the captain seriously," while Captain is threatening to kill him via text messages, which is it's really good.
Yeah, his phone does not stop going off. It's really
Um,
good.
yeah. So Schmidt and Maya are kind of connecting more. Jenko and the football team is connecting more. Um, the uh, the frat, the football frat decides to try and invite both Schmidt and Jenko, still thinking that they're brothers.
Uh-huh.
Um, they, I think this is the scene where they take Wi-Fi and then they go infiltrate the frat house in the "I'm so
Yep.
focused" scene.
Yep.
Um,
This is, and Jinko just keeps drilling holes in that roof.
it's that and like him using the laser pointer to like cut out the
And he's
window.
like, he's
That's a
literally making the noise.
It's a real good bit. I like that one. Um, this turns into kind of the flip of the first movie, where the frat obviously loves Jenko because he's literally them, and they obviously don't like Schmidt because, in so many
It's Schmidt.
words, yeah, he sort of sucks. You know, compared to Jenko.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's not the same quote unquote clique as they are.
Exactly. Yeah. Um, so they they sort of leave, and on their way back, they get kidnapped by somebody who they believe has made them. In the back seat or in the trunk of the car, they are both tripping on Wi-Fi. Um, there's some really great musical choices here. Jenko is having a very good trip, and Schmidt is having a very bad trip right next to each other.
Yeah.
The Creed song choice in Hell is especially good.
I'm not gonna lie, that kind of I double taked at that where I was like, wait, is that seriously Creed?
It's a real good choice. It's just like I have no fondness or hate for Creed. I just have no opinion. But there's
Uh-huh.
if you're gonna play like 5 seconds of a song, it's Higher by Creed, and you're just like, yeah, all right. I do like the scene. I do like the shot of Schmidt trying to get into Jenko's trip, and there being some sort of weird split screen end quote, which is pretty good.
Yeah, that's a weird scene.
Hmm.
All in all, like,
Yeah,
don't get me wrong, it's amusing, and like Tatum plays this really well. Like I got nothing but respect for Tatum after these two movies because he is completely out of his element with these people.
yep. And him
Like,
like giggling in the good trip is really great.
yeah,
As the football's tickling him, like that's
yeah,
a
and the
real good.
rainbow's doing little dances around him.
That's right. It's real good. Um, so they sort of get woken up out of their trip dreams slash nightmare, I guess. And they
Uh-huh.
find out that they've been made by Zook and Rooster, but they're not actually made. They're there for a
Hazing.
initiation, yeah, hazing sort of deal, which turns
Again,
in.
something I forgot to mention
Yeah, I didn't
at
even
the first
remember.
part of the show,
Yeah,
and then it's like, oh, speaking of problematic things with American universities.
yeah. So they decide to drink all the way throughout the night. I mean, various it seem like really complex and really intense drinking games where Jenko is doing pretty okay and Schmidt is immediately not okay.
Yes.
And it leads into Jenko kind of getting better favor with the whole frat because he's killing it, and Schmidt leaving, and then the two of them basically deciding to go their separate investigating ways again, much like the first movie. And the tension between the two of them is kind of continuing to mount. They There's a bunch of stuff that happens, especially with Jenko kind of trying to get the the suppliers' information from Zook, and essentially finding out that Zook is not the dealer; he's
He
just
was
a
a buyer.
customer. Yeah, he's
Uh-huh.
just a buyer. So they get more information. There's actually a really great scene with, oh god, who plays the counselor guy? He's one of my favorite character actors.
She's the guy from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah,
Uh,
Mark Evan Jackson. I love him in everything. Just this like white bread, super serious, deadpan sort of thing. Um, I like the two of them kind of hashing out their problems, and they essentially find out that Ghost is going to be on campus. He's doing some deals in the library because nobody goes there anymore, which is
yeah.
probably way too on the nose. Um, there's a it's a really great quasi romance scene between Jinko and Schmidt, where one of Ghost's henchmen calls uh, Jenko and Schmidt a slur, which I like that Jenko is just like, hey man, it's 2014. You can't say that anymore. Like, you could potentially say all this other stuff, but like that's going. I like his defense in another
It's
scene of just like, yeah, I mean, like I can't let that. If you let that slide, then he thinks it's okay. It's just like, all
yeah,
right,
and
sure.
it's him as well. Like literally, he went to one human sexuality class, and he's like, "Wait, did I use homophobic slurs in high school?" And he's like, "Yes, mostly against me."
Yeah, that's pretty good. Um, so they start running away from Ghost's men because, of course, neither one of them brought a gun to this little stakeout. Um, it's I I kind of like this scene because this came after the scene where they go back to 22 Jump Street to talk to the captain, and this is where Jenko has no idea that Schmidt and the captain's daughter had slept together. Um, and
Mhm.
there's that really good winding up and ding noise where where, where Tatum finally figures it out and is celebrating it way too much. Um, and that's where the captain is sort of saying like, "Hey man, look, like we got this big budget. Like I'm wearing super expensive shoes. You can't even see them." Um, Like, and he's saying like, you need to solve this problem because we're running out of money. Like, we are way over our budget, and we gotta wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
So as they're running away from Ghost's men, they figure out, let's take the cheapest route possible because we don't want to keep racking up the bill. And of course, Jenko goes through like the living statue area. They cut through the robotics lab, which is I'm always a sucker for like, you look at either the top down of a building or the side, and they're kind of clearly ping ponging through something with sound effects. I'm always kind of a sucker for a bit of comedy like that. And they eventually run across the football field, and
No.
go ahead.
You're really gonna skip over the Benny Hill joke right here?
Which one?
The one where they play an orchestrated version of the Benny Hill music while they are in front of the Benjamin Hill School of Musical of Film.
I didn't catch that it was the Benjamin Hills. It's really good. Okay.
And it's specifically when they go right across the screen, left to right, and then across the screen, right to left, without changing shots.
Yep. I'd never noticed Benjamin Hill. All right. That's pretty good. I like that. But yeah, they eventually kind of, as the team wins the football game. Also, H. John Benjamin reprising his role as a football coach. If anyone has seen Not Another Teen Movie, he does a really good job as a football coach in that one. But if anyone doesn't recognize H. John Benjamin, that's Archer and Bob Belcher.
Yeah.
You probably recognize his voice as he's yelling, because he's the only dude with that voice.
Yes.
But this sort of starts sort of cements the split between Schmidt and Jenko, because Jenko tells Schmidt earlier that like, hey, Zook thinks I can go pro. He can get into this other bigger school. So Schmidt gets arrested. Jenko sort of gets the decision made for him to kind of stay there, move in with Zook, exercise and work out way too much.
Yep.
And they figure out that, I think maybe it's the captain that tells them, but essentially Ghost is going to spring break to go make Wi-Fi go viral.
Yes.
So the two of them
each do their own thing. They're like separated, and like one, like Schmidt is back in the park, like in the rain, on his bike.
Yep.
By the way,
he has his 30th birthday by himself. I do like that good scene of Jenko blowing out the candles on his birthday, and Zook is like, "This will be like this for the rest of our life," and Jenko's just like, "Oh God." So they're gonna go to spring break for their kind of one final mission together. They have another, just like the first movie, they have another kind of arming themselves montage. And they go and they find out that the Ghost's distributor is Mercedes, who's his daughter.
Yep.
And she's there kind of running the show. Ghost takes the opportunity again to kind of complain about like those good 90s drugs like cocaine. Like, why don't you deal one of those? I kind of like the scene between the two Yangs here of figuring out who's going to get shot first, and them doing the rock, paper, scissors, and they both do the same one 3 times in a row. I think that's a pretty good piece of business. Schmidt and Jenko kind of bust in. They claim they forgot the tracker. Then everybody from Jump Street jumps in. The captain, the cool lady that worked in the team that busted like 6 high schools in the first one. The 3
Yep.
nerds have like automatic
Yeah,
weapons.
I like that too. They get introduced at the beginning as well as like
Hmm.
the interns.
I like their line of like, "We are here as well," um, and the this is kind of this. I hate this whole spring break section of this movie. For me, this whole sequence is just way too long in almost every regard. Um, they get into 2 chases at once. Jenko unfortunately cannot hop in the Lambo um, because he has to go on foot chase because Schmidt is
He's
not going to
better.
go do that. Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
Schmidt gets to drive the Lambo, and most of that is pretty good. I do like the Tokyo Drift cry slash scream at the end. Um,
Uh-huh.
maybe that was too fast and maybe a little too furious. Um,
Yes.
I like that Jenko is really upset with Ghost the entire time that he doesn't get to drive a Lambo, so that's kind of fueling his anger there. Um, oh god, we get the Mercedes Schmidt fight through the hotel, which is just it's such a it starts off as such a funny idea. Like that first shot of her leaning in a
Leaning out
little bit to Schmidt, and Schmidt's just like, what are you trying to kiss me? What are you doing?" I think that's actually pretty good. It goes on
way too long.
way way too long. um
Yeah. Like the first time it happens, it was genuinely funny.
mhm.
And then after that, it just keeps on going, going,
Yep.
going, going,
And it's not
going.
a bad fight scene. Like there's 2 kind of good fight scenes here. Like Schmidt and Mercedes having a fight is pretty good because neither one of them are holding back during the fight. Um,
Uh-huh.
and then Jenko has a really good one where he's swinging that woman around, like around his shoulders, and he's using her legs to kick Ghost's henchmen. Like both of those fight scenes are pretty good, but the combination of the Mercedes Schmidt fight going on too long, and then Mercedes continually pelting him with insults about him being old is just like, yes, cool, I got it. Shut up. It's been like
Uh-huh.
an hour and a half of just constantly this. Um, so the captain who Mercedes had taken hostage eventually gets free. Maya knocks out Mercedes with like some large metal fish, which is pretty good. And Jenko and Schmidt go chase after Ghost. They both hop onto the helicopter. Jenko gets shot in the arm again. They both they both hop onto the sort of bottom part of the helicopter as they're falling off. Jenko says something cool and throws a grenade in there, which blows up the whole
Literally, no, no,
thing.
no. You have to specify that he literally says
Yeah, he says something cool.
something cool.
Yeah, there's
This
like
is a dude, what's that tattoo say kind
that's
of
right.
moment.
That's still a really great scene in that movie. Um,
Sweet.
yeah, we'll have to find a season to watch. Dude, where's my car? I
No,
think
we won't.
that
Ashton Kutcher awkward comedy season is not is not a
I have
season.
always had a soft spot for how weird and dumb that movie is. Um, so they kind of win the day. Uh, Jenko goes to shoot Schmidt in the arm just to be even, and then gets shot in the other arm as the captain comes up and tells him, "Hey man, for next mission, you're going to medical school." And this starts this really great montage here in the ending of all of the like up to 37 or whatever uh, 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 Jump Street movies. We do see
Yes.
Bill Hader as the like culinary school movie villain, which is
Uh-huh.
it's pretty good. Do we see
Anna Faris.
Anna Faris showing up for like movie 30 or something? And in the one that I
She's the
always
flight attendant. by the way.
Yes. Yeah, like Jump Street just got a whole lot sexier or something, she says. And in the scene that I always forget about, and it makes me laugh every single time, is
Because I do confuse these two all of the time.
yep, it's the perfect casting. There's a contract dispute during one of the movies, and Schmidt is played by Seth Rogen. He even calls Janko Jenkins, which is really good.
Uh-huh.
And then in the next movie,
It's like,
Jonah
shut
Hill
up,
is
nobody
back.
will notice.
That's right. That's really good. And it goes through a whole bunch of other. There's a video game. There's a shooting game for kids. I really love the voiceover on the video game, where it's just that super deadpan like PS1, PS2 era voice acting thing.
Uh-huh.
Ghost survives the helicopter explosion in one of them. One of them, one of them features Booker from that Jump Street spin-off TV show. Um,
Yep.
like they kind of cover all of it. And it's pretty good.
Did you see the tagline for the laundry school one or whatever it was they were doing?
No.
Die Hard.
All right, it's pretty good. They all have pretty good taglines. It's all
Uh-huh.
pretty good. And yeah, that's the end of 22 Jump Street. Um, Tomato meter 84% for the critics, 77 for an audience score, and IMDb
Okay.
had a flat 7.0 out of 10, 370,000 ratings. Um,
Hmm.
so how do
I can
you feel about 22 Jump Street?
I can probably get behind the 7 if I'm honest.
Mm,
It's fine. Like you said, it's no one. I don't think it's as good as the first one.
no,
Um, the first one was more inappropriate in certain places.
sure.
Um, but I think it's probably overall a better movie than this one.
Hmm.
And because I like a good meta joke. I really do like a good meta joke.
Hmm.
But when they literally quote unquote solve the case by doing the exact same thing that they did previously, but the two of them aren't doing that,
Hmm.
it's like, okay, I get it. Funny. Ha
Yeah.
ha ha.
All right.
Ah.
It's the thing we have complained about on the main show before, where it's like, oh man, in video games, like, oh man, don't tutorials suck? Hey, press X to jump. It's like you can't do both. Like
Yes.
you gotta you gotta do something different then.
Yeah. I it's a perfectly fine
Hmm.
game movie.
Right.
Um, I don't think it's as good
Yeah.
as the first one. There are some moments which were genuinely hilarious.
Hmm.
There are some moments where it was absolutely terrible and cringe. And like you said, the whole scene in the fight in the bedroom just goes on
Hmm.
way too long.
Yep.
Way too long.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Oh.
that's largely my feelings about this too, which is I like 21 Jump Street a lot. I think it's a really well done, like really tight comedy, which I really like. I like comedies that are like really tightly written and well edited and well produced. And I like comedies that are really weird. Like those are kind of my two wheelhouses. Um,
Mhm.
and I don't think this ever gets close to how well done the first one was, which is kind of ironic because it's very much like we're going to make the first one again. But
Mhm.
obviously they don't, but I think it's kind of they never really get there, and I think the Mercedes stuff in this movie just ruins so much of it. And I think the spring break stuff at the third act is that whole act is just way too long. at that point. Like you could cut multiple minutes out of that stuff, and I think you're still doing pretty okay. But it's fine. It's okay. I mean, it's not one of those ones where it's like I didn't laugh the whole time. Like I was still laughing. I've seen it a couple times. I'm still laughing. Like there's some really good stuff. The Seth Rogen cameo at the end is especially really good.
Uh-huh.
I think the end credits is especially great because like maybe a year or two after this movie came out, they were trying to make a third one for real, and Channing Tatum was just like, I don't think that's gonna work, like very clearly. And the next idea was doing a Men in Black crossover, which also I'm sort of happy never worked.
Yeah.
And then they were going to do a female-led spin-off, which also never happened. So it's three okay ideas that all kind of didn't work out for probably good reasons.
I'm more than likely for the best, to be
Yeah,
honest.
yeah. And I think this movie's okay. It's still a bummer after the first one to see it kind of uh, veer closer to the kind of Judd Apatow put in a bunch of ad lib scene kind of comedy thing, which the first movie surprisingly avoided. But that doesn't make this a bad one. It just turns into like, you should go watch 21 Jump Street because it's genuinely very good, and 22 is fine. Um, but that's season 13 for us. If you're a patron, patreon.com/E1M1.
Ones and numbers.
If you're at the $5 or higher tier, Moon and I recorded a season 14 production meeting. So that'll be releasing between this episode and then season 14's first episode. So you can go over, listen to that. We had a whole bunch more cat claws in Moon's chest. Gosh, Louise. But we also had a bunch of like, oh no, I have a great idea for a season. Oh god, that's a really good one. Revelations. So go check that out over on the Patreon page. And if not, a couple weeks, season 14, episode 1 will be out. I hope you join us for that brand new season. And thank you for watching. Bye.
Boy.